Welcome back, everybody, to Bearcats Daily. I am your host, as always, Blake Thornton, aka Swiss Roll. Appreciate you joining us in today. Hey, we got some great news. We got another Bearcat in the league. The Bengals sign our linebacker Jack Dingle to the squad. They picked him up as an undrafted free agent. Really excited to see him back here in Cincinnati. Guy went to college here. He gets to play his pro ball here. Now, he's not on the roster yet, but he can obviously earn a potential roster spot through camps and work and things like that. Um, he did work out with the Bengals at Paycor during the one of the UC Pro Days. So a lot of attention was paid to him. Lord knows the Bengals need linebackers, and they got a lot of young guys at the linebacker course. They needed depth, and they go out and get UC now alum Jack Dingle. It'll be interesting to see how Jack does out there. He's kind of an undersized linebacker, for being honest. He's strong and he's quick, but in terms of strength to play at the NFL level, I don't necessarily know if he's got it yet. He's a strong guy, good, played great in college. The NFL is just that next step. So they're going to work him out. They're going to try to put on a little muscle, work on some things. Definitely got to get him better in coverage. Run stop is great, but you got to be able to cover as a linebacker as well. So hopefully, he can get that work and get moving forward. I'm excited to see him. Congrats to him. We'll keep updates as we go along here, as more and more players are getting drafted and are getting signed by teams. But yeah, so as of now, Jack Dingle is going to be a Cincinnati Bengal for the foreseeable future. Can't wait to see him every Sunday. I got season tickets, so I'm going to enjoy the fact I get to see a UC ball player on the field at Paycor. But it was approached to me at an outside place about UC and their coaching philosophies. And I asked them to kind of, shine a little more light, illuminate on that a little bit more. And they were basically talking about how UC has always been a stepping stone for coaches. It just seems like we have a new coach any other time that they look over. And they're not necessarily wrong, but also I don't think it's as bad as people think. Since 1994, Rick Minter became head coach of the UC football team in 1994. He was there till 2003. Close to a 10-year career at UC. Then, and I forgot about this personally, but I was also a little young at the time, Mark D'Antonio was the UC football coach from '04 to '06. He took over after Minter left. Kind of one of those blink and you'd almost miss it kind of moments. Nothing really stands out about that time. But yeah, Mark D'Antonio was a head coach for the UC Bearcats. Shocked me too when I first read it. But after that point is kind of when things become a little more structured again. Brian Kelly comes into UC in 2006. In that time prior, he had won back-to-back D2 championships at Grand Valley State. From 1991 to 2003, he was the head coach of Grand Valley State. Wound up getting the Central Michigan job starting out in '04, and he was there till 2006. He goes 19-16 at Central Michigan. So we make that jump from D2 to D1, and obviously, in the 3 seasons that he was there, 19-16 record. Not a failure, but as a fan of a team, you'd hope to see a little bit more out of 3 seasons. I mean, I definitely would. One game above 500 every year is kind of rough, personally, but that's my philosophy. When I coach, I have a lot loftier expectations. So it just depends on your outlook on it, and we can agree to disagree. No problem there. I would hope that everyone has their own opinions and thoughts on this subject, but he goes 19-16. UC hires him 2006 to 2009. Brian Kelly comes in and basically puts UC football on the map in terms of nationwide coverage. 2 consecutive Big East championships and 2 bowl appearances. And not only were they bowl appearances, they were BCS bowl appearances. Orange Bowl against Virginia Tech and the Sugar Bowl against Florida and what some would arguably say the most successful college quarterback of all time, Tim Tebow. Till Joe Burrow came around. Hey, yo. But Kelly winds up leaving for Notre Dame before that Sugar Bowl game. Basically just cuts ties and leaves town. Takes the money, gets out of Dodge. And UC goes on to lose in the Sugar Bowl. Needless to say that Kelly's departure from Cincinnati was not one that was met with any sort of positivity. It's only the biggest bowl game in school history, probably the biggest game in school history at that point. We'll get to more of that in a minute. And he just cuts dodge. Notre Dame says, "Hey, we're going to hire," and he goes, "Hey, deuces." Now, this is something with college as a whole that I don't necessarily agree with. Coaches are able to leave after the regular season. They don't count bowl games or now the playoffs for that. I personally don't agree with it. Can't stand it. It's part of the season. If it is irrelevant, why are you doing it? And we all know why. It's, money. It's a chance to make more money. So, I'm going to just table that for now, and we'll just look at, UC and Brian Kelly and things of that nature. So he goes off, goes to Notre Dame. And really, gotta be honest, I don't really think it was that successful at Notre Dame. Yeah, he made some bowl games, made it to college football playoffs, but never won anything. He had a good run. He had a good run at Notre Dame, but I don't really think it was what he was hoping to do. Personally, I think if he leaves for Notre Dame, the man should have won a national championship with him. He didn't. Even better, UC kicks their tail, and almost is the reason. I think part of a big reason why Kelly wound up taking that LSU job. He didn't want to have to play UC again, getting embarrassed. Now that's just a stretch, and that's just me being, facetious. But he goes to LSU and winds up getting fired from LSU. So he leaves UC, and it just kind of, goes from there. But yeah, so he basically puts UC on the map after, he did great in D2, back-to-back championships, very successful. Central Michigan, getting into D1, getting his feet wet as a head coach, no issues there. But yeah, he has a amazing career at UC, and probably one of the best runs at that point for a coach at UC, and just leaves town. Butch Jones comes in to replaces him. Butch Jones kind of followed Brian Kelly everywhere, if you really think about it, early on at least. Butch Jones basically is at Central Michigan. Comes into UC from after Kelly leaves. So once again, he replaces Kelly there, replaces Kelly at UC. He was 27-13 at Central Michigan. That's solid. 11-2 record in 2009, his last season there. So again, he had success at a school, jumps right to UC. And at UC, once again, we have some success for some years. He's there from 2010 till 2012. 23-14 record, won the Big East Conference in 2011. We get to the bowl games. Pretty solid results here at UC. And once again, he takes a bigger job offer after having success here and goes to Tennessee, where it just implodes for him. That's, for another time to go into. But again, we see a coach having success and leaving. Now, you will notice I'm not going to talk about Tommy Tuberville with this because the man retired after coaching at UC. I'm not going to give any qualms about it. We had, interns like Jeff Quinn in 2009, Steve Stripling in 2012. So we've had multiple coaches, but I'm not going to count them in this situation. After, we get through Butch Jones and Tommy Tuberville coming in, Luke Fickell comes to town. Spent 2 decades at Ohio State. It seemed like longer than that, maybe. He is an Ohio State guy. No shame in that. It's gross, but it's what he was. GA, linebacker, coach, co-defensive coordinator, wound up being the interim head coach in 2011 after Tressel leaves. He goes 6-7, 6-6 in the regular season. Didn't work out, Urban Meyer comes in. We remember how all that went down. But then he gets the job at UC. Comes in and has, personally, this is my personal opinion, the best results from any coach in UC history. Modern day. That's my personal opinion. He goes 57-18 at UC, highlighted by that amazing 2021 run where they go 13-0. They've won back-to-back American championships and become the first non-Power 4 conference team, however you want to word it, Power 5, whatever, to make the college football playoff. And personally, they handle themselves well. The year prior, they played Georgia in the Peach Bowl, lost on the last-second field goals, a bunch of BS, whatever. So, again, he was in a huge bowl game the year prior. And because they were kind of switched to the college football playoffs, the bowl games kind of have taken a back seat. But still, the Peach Bowl against Georgia, played in Atlanta, by the way, for that game. Home field advantage. Weird. But they take Georgia down to the wire. Nobody thought they had a shot. Next year, they run it back, and they make the college football playoff to play Alabama. He goes down. They obviously lose to Bama. It was a great game. I mean, it's Alabama. Like, we know Alabama recruits versus what UC recruits were at the time. You're there's Bama and Ohio State, Michigan, Oklahoma, Texas. Those guys are, a different caliber. You got to give them credit. UC goes out there and battles with them for 4 quarters. The score does not reflect how close that game was. It was a grind, pound 'em out game, and I couldn't have been more proud of the Bearcats at that point. But then Fickle leaves, and he goes to the Big Ten Conference and coaches at Wisconsin, and has done nothing of the sort uh, in terms of success. Just hasn't. He hasn't. Seems like no coach that leaves UC really goes on to achieve what they are trying to. Again, this is all personal thought. If you disagree, please put in the comments. Love to hear your thoughts. We can go back and forth for sure. But he goes off to Wisconsin. So UC just seems to be this, like, just almost a transitional job. And it's really not something that I think is appropriate for what this school and this program does. You can't say, well, UC is always going to be, a stepping stone for coaches. They're going to come here, they're going to succeed, and they're going to get the big jobs. They're going to get the big money. Well, okay. Let me ask you then personally what we consider big time. At that time, UC with Luke Fickle was in the American Athletic Conference. Not a big conference. I mean, it was a good conference. There were some good teams in there. UCF especially had a great run at that time. But with that all being said, it's American Athletic Conference. Coach's dream, SEC, Pac 12 when it was around, Big 10, and even Big 12. And UC moves to the Big 12, which I thought might actually keep Fickle around, having that move to a bigger conference, but he still leaves town. Checks out, goes to the Big 10. Okay, well, is it really still a stepping stone? You are in a Power 4 conference with the Big 12. You play some of the bigger names in the country. Obviously, Oklahoma and Texas left, but, they moved out and wanted to go somewhere else. So UC should not still be considered a stepping stone. It should be considered a hot commodity job. You're going to come into a stadium that is probably one of the tougher places to play in terms of size to impact ratio. That Nippert is. That bowl in that jungle in there, prime time lights, especially with how amazing Cincinnati fans are, and that student section, there is not a better job out there, personally, where I think you can come in and basically have just free reign on what you want, and you'll get it. But you shouldn't be looking at it as a stepping stone. You have a chance in a Big 12 school to build a legacy. And that legacy can be good or bad. You look in the past at all the coaches, a couple guys have a little negative, some are positive. But it still should. I hate hearing people say it's a stepping stone, they'll come here, do great, and leave. That's not the case. It doesn't have to be that way. We have improved everything about this school. They have updated the facility, spent $120 million on the new athletic building there. They got an indoor facility. They've updated everything. And Nipper, they renovated a couple years back. I mean, there's plenty of opportunity here, and that to build a national program, and they are getting there. We are getting there. It just takes a little more time than we thought. But when your coaches are constantly leaving, it's hard to build that rep. Your most successful coaches were long-term coaches. That's a personal opinion and can be backed up. Look at Saban. Look at Urban Meyer. Look at Jim Tressel. Getting guys in the building that want to be there, that's fine. But they can't look at it as a stepping stone. And I really just can't stand seeing that. And I hope that it begins to change now. We're in the Big 12. Obviously, Satterfield, the jury's out on him. This might be his last season. Who knows? Depends on what Cunningham does as the athletic director. And I'm not sold on John Cunningham personally. I don't think he's necessarily too worried about winning, more about making money, which it's funny. If you win games in any sport, guess what you do? You make more money. So hopefully, ideally, you're looking at guys that want to go long term. And it kind of comes into where I want to discuss with everybody, and I kind of want to put it out there for y'all to do some homework, is that, Mike, how would you go about looking to hire a coach if Satterfield, at the end of the season is let go? If they finally say, you know what, it's not working, they release Satterfield, where do you go? Do you hope that a guy like Fickle, who I don't necessarily know would take any other job right now other than the Ohio State job, because he's always seemed like he wants to coach the Buckeyes again, and now that he's got some head coaching experience, it may work. But do you go out and look for a guy like that? Do you look for somebody with history, somebody that's possibly already been in the building? And, it's a little biased because he did so well at UC and built an amazing program. Or do you do what Indiana did? They go out and get Kirk Cignetti from James Madison. I believe it was James Madison. You can fact check me on that. They go out and get him and bring him into Indiana, and he does what the world didn't think was possible. He takes a basketball school, I'm sorry, Hoosiers, y'all are basketball, and builds them to a national championship and dominates. And even gets helps develop the number one overall pick. Now, Fernando was a solid player, so that's neither here nor there. Not saying Cignetti's the only reason he got that Heisman, but hey, he helped develop him, he helped work with him, and built a program. So, you as if you're the athletic director and you're looking around and you're like, you know what, we're going to make changes. I'm going to bring somebody in and we're going to make changes. We're going to do this right. Are you hiring a big name coach who may or may not have been released from their other job? Or do you go out and get a guy from a, non-power conference school that is, showing success and winning, and bring them in and let them build a program how they want to build it? So I want you to take that into consideration. I want you to think about it. Please leave your, answers, thoughts, comments about that below, because I'd love to hear the thoughts on this. I want to see what people are thinking. I want to hear what you guys are thinking, because that gives a little more back and forth for a talk show. It definitely helps, trust me. So I look forward to hearing what y'all's thoughts are on that. I appreciate you joining me. Make sure you hit that subscribe and like button. As we build this channel, might do some giveaways, things like that. If we can hit 100 subscribers, we'll do some sports cards maybe. But in the meantime, I appreciate y'all joining. I hope to see you again tomorrow and look forward to hearing your answers. I'll see you.